right, hey everybody, again, backyard business, and I first of all, it's absolutely gorgeous out, and I love this beautiful day. So far we've done some like 98 degree, where our cameras heated up, but we got a beautiful day today. And I have to tell you, Bruce Haines, I'm excited to have you, and I'll tell you why. I think you're an incredible business person, and there aren't many hotels in a downtown, historic hotels, that are still alive and well, and somehow you do it, and you do it well.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't expect that kind of accolade this morning. This afternoon.
What people don't know, though, is you were Lehigh. People maybe don't know the history. I want to make sure I tell them is that the hotel was going to be. I don't know what it was going to be. It was going to really be in a bad spot. And you and some Lehigh grads. I'll let you tell the story. I'm not going to tell your story.
Yeah, 98.
Okay.
When after Bethlehem Steel's plant shut down, the hotel was a couple of years. After the plant shut down, the hotel went bankrupt and was boarded up. And it was a place where my wife Joanne and I spent, 10 or 12 weekends a year, being a Lehigh grad, coming back for Lehigh wrestling, Lehigh football.
Oh, you're a big Lehigh wrestling fan?
I'm a big Lehigh wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And so it was like we lost our second home. And when it closed, and we just assumed some hotelier would step up and bring it back to life, right? But that didn't happen.
And it was just so people understand, it was in rough shape.
It was in rough shape. They'd been through some tough times, so they weren't able to reinvest.
Gotcha.
So there was some holes in the green shag carpeting. There was old window air conditioning units.
I get the sense you're being respectful of the previous owners because they tried hard.
The Deckers were great people.
Okay,
they did
I'm hearing that in your voice.
They did all they could, but when, at that time, that was probably the darkest days of Bethlehem's time.
Yeah,
because
the city.
And so as their occupancy went down, they went bankrupt and couldn't pay the bills, and at the same time, once their occupancy went down, so did the businesses on Main Street started to close, and so you lost the whole thing. You didn't have guests coming into town to shop the shops, and things were kind of dark that period.
So like every entrepreneur, I always love to ask business people, did you have? I'm sure you had times when you bought it, considering what was going on around it, you're like, man, did I do the right thing? Was this a sentimental decision, and I'm going to regret this, or?
No, I certainly don't regret. That's for sure. I mean, in fact, it was probably the most energizing thing I've done in my life. I never was an entrepreneur. I was a 35-year veteran collecting a paycheck at U.S. Steel, and so now I all of a sudden had to sign paychecks, and that was a whole different world as an entrepreneur. But we stepped in because the Moravians were going to step in and save it. But at that point, everybody assumed. Any hotelier that came to look at it just didn't feel it was an old hotel in a rundown downtown. Not rundown, but it was, an industrial town, and they just didn't see the vision. I did it because of our heart, and I said to my wife, I said, we got to put together a group to save the hotel. The Moravians were going to save the building, but they were going to turn it into, we have 6 guest floors at the hotel. They were going to turn the top 3 guest floors into senior citizen apartments. And the next 3 guest floors were going to be girls' dorms for Moravian College. That would have been an interesting combination, and I think, certainly they had a use for it, and they were going to at least save it. But I felt it was really important. We were going to retire to Bethlehem, to the historic district anyway, when I retired from U.S. Steel. So I just retired a little earlier and decided we needed to keep it a hotel. It was such a grand, glorious hotel that it just was a shame to see it not retain its hotel character.
How much did you have to? I mean, if you want to disclose, how much you had to? How quickly did you evolve and start to fix it up as you were evolving, or did you just go all in, fix it up, and then do business, or was it an evolution?
It was an evolution.
Okay,
we've been fixing it for 20 years, 25 years.
Gotcha.
So just really finally to the point where we got it to where the vision was to take it to a luxury, historic hotel, and bring it back to its grandeur of the 1920s when it was built. And it's been a process. Step 1 was just getting it reopened. And it wasn't anywhere near the degree of elegance that it is today, but we got reopened. We were forced to put a brand on it because it had failed as an independent hotel. So the banks were concerned about
Oh, you mean like a Best Western kind of deal?
We had to put a brand, and at that time I was kind of new in I didn't know the hotel business, and the guy we teamed up with said, well, we can get a Radisson brand. I said, well, if you could get a Westin or something like that, I said, maybe I can live with that. But to me, this is the Hotel Bethlehem. It shouldn't be branded. Yeah. It's a community hotel, and it doesn't really you shouldn't have a Hilton or a Marriott or some brand on it, let alone a Radisson. So I wasn't happy with that, but we had to do what we had to do. But we put an out clause in a 15-year agreement, and at 5 years, I went to the lenders and said, listen, Radisson isn't going to get us where we want to go. Yeah. It's not, we have a bigger vision than that, a broader vision than that. And so we executed the 5-year out clause, and they went along with us. And then we teamed up. At that point, we partnered with Historic Hotels of America, part of the National Trust.
Oh, and that was a better referral system. Yeah.
Yeah, we applied to that, and I thought we're not good enough to really be part of that. I mean, these are great historic hotels.
Yeah.
Like the Homestead. And
like the Peabody?
The Peabody, the Homestead.
These are big-time national hotels.
Big-time national hotels. But lo and behold, believe it or not, we were accepted, and I sort of felt like, wow, this is incredible. Like I felt like I was the low-priced house in a high-priced neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was really, it set the tone about where we wanted to go, which was to brand the hotel as a historic hotel and bring it back to the character of the 1920s and when the grand and glorious hotels, proliferated and were built in this country.
I always wanted to ask you this. I managed a hotel. I managed the Hamilton Plaza in Allentown, which was
I was trying to hire you for a while.
I'll never forget Ray Holland, who bought that hotel. Do you remember Ray Holland?
I do.
Very southern accent. He called me one day. He said, hey, how'd you like to manage my hotel? I said, I don't know anything about a hotel. And he said, I don't either, and I just bought it. I'll never forget that. And anyway, I learned about it. It was an amazing. I love the business. But I want to ask you this, because I'm like, I'm a chamber guy. I want to get along with everybody. You're very principled, and if you feel strongly about something, you'll stand tall. And is it ever hard? Really, I think sometimes you're not afraid to stand for what you feel, even if it's not what everyone wants you to say. Is that hard sometimes?
Oh, it's very hard. I mean, my passion is about for historic Bethlehem. We knew we wanted to retire here. Yeah. Even before the hotel issue came up, and we love the downtown, the historic district, and love Bethlehem. And so, my passion is about historic Bethlehem, and the hotel is only as good as Main Street is, right? And so similarly,
so you're reliant.
Yeah. So we're synergistic, and so I stand up for things that I think will benefit Main Street and benefit the guests when they come here to come and go out on Main Street and have a great experience, right? And so I do tend to stand up probably sometimes when I shouldn't.
Do you say that to yourself sometimes? And I don't want to overstate it, but sometimes you're on a quote unquote lonely limb, but you stand tall. I'd be in the fetal position crying somewhere, but you stand tall.
Well, I think everybody thinks that I'm just looking out only for the hotel, and that's not what I'm about. I'm about what makes historic Bethlehem and the hotel great is historic Bethlehem, Lehigh University, the South Side improvements. I mean, I'm all for all that, but I'm passionate about wanting excellence, right? And I see it from maybe a different perspective than the locals see it, because I hear it from the guests that come here from all over the world and stay in the hotel, and they give me their feedback about how they like the town, and what shortkomings
and you're
they
sending
see.
them out on the streets.
We're sending them out, so I get feedback on it, and I just think I just speak my mind, and unfortunately sometimes that gets me in a little bit of trouble. But that is what it is, and we move on, and we're in a great spot right now, getting the World Heritage designation.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Last month was
for the
incredible.
City of Bethlehem. I mean, that's how many sites are there in the world?
Well, there's a little over 1,200 sites now in the world.
But give some of the names that are on that list.
Well, there's only 25 sites in the United States. Yeah. Most of the World Heritage sites, we're talking about the Great Wall of China, we're talking about
Eiffel Towers,
the pyramids, we're talking about that kind of stuff. And if you go to France or Germany, There's so many, because we're new relative
Sure.
to those worlds. So these are culturally significant sites.
Yeah. Colosseum in
or
Rome.
natural sites.
Colosseum in Rome is on one of those.
I assume.
No, I'm just throwing them out.
No, I would assume it is.
Yeah,
I don't know that. But in the U.S., we're talking about the company we now keep on the East Coast is Independence Hall, Statue of Liberty, and Monticello.
Wow.
So we're now, Moravian Bethlehem is now in the same company as those great culturally significant community icons. And so we now have an opportunity, and this is what my vision has always been, to really, I always felt we had authentic colonial history here on a top 10 Main Street. So we created the brand 6 years ago called Visit Historic Bethlehem, and we created authentic colonial history on a top 10 Main Street, because USA Today in 2015 named, we made the top 10 list as a Main Street, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
And then for the hotel to get Best Historic Hotel by USA Today 4 years in a row.
Yeah. So
is just an incredible thing. And again, we're up against places like this past year was really incredible. We're against the Willard in Washington, D.C., right next to the White House.
Yeah,
Williamsburg Inn, Homestead. In Florida, in Tampa, down near us is the Don Cesar, the Grand Hotel in Mackinac Island, Michigan. I mean, so we're up against some stiff competition, but we were built as a community hotel in the 1920s. The reason we win is we have a secret weapon, and that is the community and the Lehigh Valley that supports its community hotel.
Yeah.
And that's why we win. We are nowhere near the elegance of some of these great hotels that we're up against that are nominated in the top 20.
Gotcha.
But we get there because it's a voting thing and our community comes out to support us, and I'm so indebted to that, and so is our staff. And
so in the minute I have left with you,
yes, sir.
Are you going to hang in? Are you going to do this for a while? I mean, at some point.
I'm 80. Yeah, I'm going to be 80 years old pretty soon.
Really?
So I mean, at some point, I guess I gotta pass the baton somewhere.
You got more hair than me, and although everybody
I have a good comb.
Everybody has more. Yeah. That's good. What are your thoughts? So for just your thoughts about Bethlehem and the Lehigh Valley.
Well, I think we have just a wonderful opportunity right now to capitalize on this. The fact that we're a World Heritage Site, and right adjacent to it, complementing that is a 4-time Best Historic Hotel, 4-time national champion, I call it. It's a great opportunity to bring world tourism here, expose Bethlehem, both from a tourism point of view and also from a point of view of attracting businesses. So for economic development, I think this is the best opportunity the Lehigh Valley has to capitalize on. I can see 1 million people a year coming here just for World Heritage, and it's year round. It's not just during music fest.
We've come a long way, and you lived it from start to finish.
It's been fun. It's a great ride. It's been a great ride, and I really thank everybody like you for the constant support that you provide and the chamber has provided to the hotel, and the inspiration to keep me going.
Gotcha. Bruce Haines, the managing partner, correct? Of the partners, managing partner of the Hotel Bethlehem. Backyard Business, thanks for being with us. We'll have more every single week, and it's a beautiful day. Go have some fun.